Here we go. Okay. Hello, lovelies. So I went to this Life Expo consciousness convention thing here in LA yesterday, and my head is reeling a bit from it. So many different inputs and thoughts coming out of it. I went to see a lecturer that I absolutely admire, Carolyn Mace, and I've been following her for, well, since the 80s, and she's amazing, and she's sassy, and she's no holds bar, and I love that about her. I'd actually really resonated with that part of her because she had this combination of wisdom and sass that I just loved, and it encouraged me to keep that within myself, that sassiness, because it's who I am. And, you know, there are times where we're looking for permission, right, for being the way we are. So at the time I was looking for permission, and she gave it to me by example. So I will be forever in her debt for that. Beyond the amazing stuff that she shares and teaches and excavates and puts together, and it's just amazing. So, so my head's reeling from going to this thing. I definitely did things in a different way, and I might go into it later. I don't think I want to really talk about it now. So when I asked for guidance about what to talk about in the attempts of getting out of my own space, what I heard was to talk about purpose. And purpose is one of those subject matters that people seek counsel and guidance, coaching for. And it's a very difficult topic to hone down for a lot of different reasons. When I was listening to Carolyn a long time ago, she had said something like an example of purpose is really, how I understood it, was really about interpretation. One of her examples was if somebody, from a very young age, if somebody had a propensity for knives, for example, right? So they collected knives, they were always playing with knives, and all that sort of thing. So where does that innate draw, that innate interest, if you believe in past lives, you know, that coming into it with some sort of focused attention on that particular subject. So what happens from that to what we do with it? And as I understand it, and as I keep getting supported through guidance with, is it's much of it has to do with input, which means input from the people around you. Much of it has to do with emotional maturity. Much of it has to do with self-growth and interpretation, right? So, so someone with a propensity for knives could decide to become a butcher, right? Somebody could decide to become a bladesmith. Somebody could decide to be a chef. Somebody could decide to be a historian. Somebody could, with that same propensity, somebody could decide to hurt people with it. So it's really a matter of your environment and how you take control of that that draw, right? And so it's very interesting how many, I mean, there are bajillions of interpretations, sword swallowing. You know, I mean, it goes on and on and on and on, right? There's examples of what you could do with it throughout history. And so then we go to emotional maturity and self-growth. So at some point in time, we leave our family structure where we learn and we interpret and we figure out how to have safety around our thoughts, and we have to now go beyond them and be willing to grow beyond them, which some people just don't do. We get stuck. We don't know there's a way for help. We don't find the right kind of help. Whatever, right? We disallow ourselves to grow beyond our family. That happens a lot. And the part of us that will self-sabotage becomes that much greater and that much more empowered. So emotional maturity and personal growth is required to really take this passion and this purpose to its place in your life that's of benefit, but more of benefit than it is actually feeding your soul, right? To do this thing. Harming others not being really allowed. So by natural law, it's not it. But if you're using it, needing to use it for survival and self-protection, that's a whole nother thing. So that's kind of a genre of it that we don't really have time for. But on the other side of it, so if you withheld this passion and this purpose, which doesn't mean you have to make a business out of it, but it's a passion and a purpose, there will be a void in your spirit, in your soul, until this purpose is resolved. And so that personal growth to say, look, this is something that I've been interested in my whole life. I hear that a lot. And just never really did anything with it. Well, let's figure out a way for you to do something with it. And so that's your challenge. What is it that you have had a passion for ever since you were little, that you can remember, right? That you can remember, and you have not done anything with it, or you've done something with it and perhaps it needs a new interpretation. Perhaps it needs a new expression. That's possible. And so when we're looking to make a change, that becomes scary, and the sabotaging aspect of our brain will keep us from doing that because there's emotional fear. And at the same time, sometimes the answer is really simple. And I, as an intuitive guider, spiritual guider, spiritual director, intuitive medium, whatever people want to call it, life coach, I am guided to find the simplest next step for people. And I've had people come to me over the last couple of weeks saying that they were surprised. They were surprised, but they weren't surprised because some of the suggestions that were coming to them were so simple. Yes. And yet we forget about the simple part because we want to figure out the more complicated part because somehow that seems to make more sense. So no, there may be something very, very simple about a resolution. And so your challenge again is to think back about something that you have shelved for a while, and or you're doing something that you've had an innate draw to since you were younger. However, it's not fulfilling. And so what's another interpretation of how to express what you're doing? Again, you don't have to quit a job in order to do something else. But look at how you can implement a new way of expressing that innate purpose. Okay? So, I hope that makes sense. I know it does. At least as I hear it. So enjoy your challenge. I appreciate being able to express my purpose of problem solving, putting pieces together in simple ways, listening to information that comes in and being able to express it out loud, and sharing that part with you. So I wish you much empowerment. And today is Saturday, so we're on our 10th day, and I hope you have a wonderful Saturday.